Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Build a Side-Scrolling Shooter Part 2. Sorry it's been so long. My PS3 has crashed 2 or 3 times since the last time you've seen me do a Little Big Planet video. And I just was trying to work on a Christmas video as well, and then it just kept crashing. And every time it does, I have to reheat it and then re-download all the DLC because for some reason the DLC gets deactivated. So it's not a very fun process to redo, so that's why you don't see videos on such a consistent basis, because my original PS3 is really dying right now. Okay, so since the last video, the only thing I've changed is the tags on the key walls. So the bottom wall is now called bottom key, the right wall is right key, and then the left wall is left key, obviously. And the three things I'm going to cover in the tutorial are two sets of or two speed movements, how to fire a shot out of your ship, the shot itself, and then what's comprised of making the shot. So to start it off, the first thing we're going to do, which is really easy, is the second speed. So just take the advanced mover you have on the board already and copy it. Then go into your pop-up tools and grab an AND gate. Pop it tools. I like call pop-up. I think it's way cooler. Okay, so these two AND gates are going to be for your up and down and your left and right combiners. So what we're going to do is take our up and down and connect it to the first input of the first AND gate, and then the left and right to the first input of the other AND gate. And when I push X, I want the ship to go fast. So I'm going to take my X button off my controller and just connect it right into the second input. And that's my condition, so my control signal is my first input and my condition is my second input, just for the sake of keeping consistency. So just to connect these AND gates to this advanced mover, I connect my up and down to the up and down input, and my left and right to the left and right input. So what we're doing here is that when we're pushing the X button, we're basically allowing any control signals that come on input one of the AND gates to pass right through and then go to that advanced mover, which will give us our second speed. So let's just test that out. Unpause it, hop in. So right now, as you can see, my advanced mover is working like in the last video. I'm just going to hold the X button. And sure enough, you can see the AND gates are turning on and off that we just put down. And the beauty about this is that I could run into the wall and our boundary rules are still in effect. You don't need to recreate all the logic that you made in the last video. So just a nice little addition of adding two speeds. Okay, the next part was the shot. I usually just take a circle and make it a wafer thin, bring it to your front surface, and I make it a 1 by 1. Just slap a microchip on there. I'm really choked they didn't put a hotkey for grid on this game. So stupid. Okay, so we're gonna have about 4 things on this. First and foremost, let's get this out of the way. The mover. We want the shot always to go to the right. So by the natural form of putting down a mover is going 4 units to the right. We don't want that. We want it to go a lot quicker. So I'm going to go to 15 units. The other thing we need to change is that we're firing it out of a cannon, out of a ship. So there's no really momentum to build up. It's an instant shot. So we want the strength to be 100% acceleration. And that's it for movement. Your shot now shoots straight. See? Okay. The next thing we need to do is tell the enemy that they've been hit. So this key that I'm putting on here is going to be universal for all the other players, the other 3 players that play with you. So we're just going to call this one, I don't know, laser. I should call it ball really, but balls to that. Okay, laser. So now when the enemy gets hit by this shot, they're going to have a tag on them, a touch sensor on them, or an impact sensor, sorry, on the enemy that's going to see this tag, and it's going to either take 1 hit point or just die and kill itself. So what happens when the enemy gets hit and you want to get a point? Well, that's where the shot comes into effect. We put an impact sensor on the shot. If I can find it, I'm blind. So we want the impact sensor to go off when it hits an enemy. So we're just going to go into the impact sensor, make sure touching is turned on, and then go to tag, make sure that's turned on, and then we're going to make a new label. And very simply, it's going to be called enemy. Again, this doesn't affect the four players in the level. The only thing that affects it, I'm going to show you, is next. So that way, you know, you and Ted who are playing aren't scoring off each other's kills. Okay, so that's all done. Now, the simplest way I like to get points for this is to use a selector. And set it to a 3-port selector. And connect to your impact sensor to input 2 of that selector. And then connect output 2 to input 3 of the selector. So what happens is when I get hit, or when I hit the enemy, output 2 will activate really quickly, and then output 3 will turn on. So when output 3 turns on, we're going to kill our shot, and when output 2 turns on, we're going to give our guys a point. Well, how do we give them a point? We put a magnetic key down, and we call that player 1 score, or P1 score. I like to call it P1. So just go into the tag and make a new label, calling it P1. Wish I could just mind think this in, that'd be so awesome. Okay. Where is it? P1 score there. I changed my pop-up color, so it's really hard to see everything on the screen now. And the last thing we need to do is that after we've scored our point, we need the shot to die right away. We don't want the shot to pass through the enemy and score more points, or more importantly, not keep scoring points. So, like, you know, we get 50 points for 1 kill. We only want 10 points for 1 kill. So that way, you can make them play longer. The lower the score, the longer they play. Remember that. It's a pretty interesting rule. Okay. I don't like explode for killing effects. I just like disappear. Explode adds more load onto the CPU. And when you're playing a multiplayer game, you don't really want to add more load into a game that's already lagging out on a network already. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is the mechanism that fires the shot. And a lot of my viewers are going to hate me for this, but you know what? It's very simple and basic, and it works. And people are going to be like, yes. So, here we go. Put down an emitter, set it to 1 shot. I don't know why the timing is still on with 1 shot. Oh yeah, I got to connect an input. Let's say I want to use circle, because square is my pop-up. So just connect circle to the input of the emitter. There we go. I want the lifetime to be about 1 second long. And I only want to emit about 3. And I do not want to destroy the oldest. I want the oldest to die from its either by hitting an enemy or timing out of its own decay. And if it does time out on its own decay, we want it to just disappear. There we go. So now when I push circle, I can spam it 3 shots for 3 times, but I can't shoot them until either, again, they hit an enemy or they time out. So just to test that, oh, and the last thing you need to do is obviously copy the object into the emitter, or you're just going to emit nothing. Now because you have the mover on the shot, you don't really need to worry about where it's emitted from the ship, but generally wherever you, like in the center, or if you have a cannon built onto the aesthetics of the ship, you'd want it to come out of the cannon. So it's up to you as the builder on how that works. So let's just test that out. Oh, actually, leave this open so you can see it. Alright, so as you can see, I'm shooting 3 times. Sometimes I'm not shooting, I'm only bursting, I'm not really keeping shooting. So that's good, I'm happy with that. I have my 3 speeds. And that's it pretty much for this tutorial, and it was pretty boring, but the next tutorial we're going to cover enemies and health bars. Alright, thanks for watching, see ya.